Welcome back to another Pokemon Throwback Thursday, where every Thursday morning we take a deep dive into a vintage set. We are going to complete order, so the set we're checking out today is Black and White Legendary Treasures. And since I had so much fun last week looking up all the Mew cards, we're going to be doing that same thing again today, but with Umbreon. So we're going to be checking out the most popular Umbreon cards in Pokemon history, and I'm down to do this every single week where we highlight, a set, and then also highlight a certain Pokemon and go through their best cards. So let me know down below what Pokemon you guys want to see next. And before we get started, we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Punch-Out Gaming. Punch-Out Gaming is my local game store that I go to, and it's the #1 game store in all of Minnesota. I've actually been to them all. Nobody can beat the variety. So definitely check them out. They're only located about 30 minutes north of the Twin Cities, and I'll have all the links in the description. But all right, let's get into it. We got the Black and White Legendary Treasures set. This came out November 6, 2013. 113 cards plus 2 secret rares. Now it does also have the Radiant Collection, which is 25 cards. But we'll check out the main set first. Honestly, not a ton in here. There's a very popular Holo Charizard that does look super nice. The Ninetales is nice. The Moltres is nice. Even the Reshiram is super cool. But these have like the first full art gold cards. We got the Reshiram and Zekrom, some of my all-time favorite cards. And then for the actual Radiant Collection, these cards are beautiful. They got really nice reverse holo patterns on them. The Pikachu is very popular. We got the whole Ralts, Kirlia, Gardevoir line. Eevee's in there. I mean, some of the cutest cards in Pokemon history. So if you guys have like a girlfriend or a wife or anything, and they have not looked at this set, you have to show them this Radiant Collection. And then it has one of the best Mew EX cards we've ever gotten. Emolga, Reshiram, Shaman, Meloetta. A very, very fun set. All right, let's hop to eBay. We're going to check out some raw and graded prices. So we got the Gardevoir here. Now I did click near mint. Literally sold for $9. The Charizard, $20. The Victini EX, just basic, for $8. The basic Lugia EX, which does have the nice plasma crest on it, that sold for $22. Mewtwo for $10. Rayquaza for $8, just a holo. Here's the Reshiram Radiant Collection number 22, sold for $67, says near mint. So still very affordable. But yeah, I mean, just look at the sparkle on this Growlithe card. And they're just, cuddled up next to each other. Sold for $14. Here's another Reshiram for $90, Mew EX for $85, Piplup for, $9 with shipping. So again, these cards are just dirt cheap. We got a Tornadus EX. This is a black and white promo with the Legendary Treasure stamp, only sold for $21. The Pikachu, literally near mint, sold for $20. Here we got the Mew EX, EGC 8.5, 330. Some random grading company in a 9 for the Pikachu at $65. Another raw $20 Pikachu. Here's the Emolga full art, sold for $41. And a PSA 8 Pikachu for $65. All right, here is the Pikachu. Last sold in a PSA 10 is about $900. And that was about 2 months ago. Next, we have the Shaman EX. Last sold in a PSA 10, $1,525. That was in July. Next, we have the Charizard Holo. This sold for $2,500. And honestly, all of the holos, especially of like the more popular Pokemon that I mentioned earlier, they're worth a good amount in a PSA 10. So if you guys ever come across a binder from that era where they have all their holo cards in the actual binder and they're really nice, take a look. But yeah, $2,500 for the Charizard. The sale before that was $21, and then $2K before that. Next, we have the Gold Zekrom Full Art. Last sold $6,100, and then the sale before that was $7,250, so it actually went down in price a little bit. Next, we have the Gold Reshiram. Last sold $4,400 in a PSA 10, and that was at the end of July. Next, we have the Reshiram Radiant Collection. Last sold $4,800. These cards are very, very low pops and super tough to grade. Next, we have the Mew EX Radiant Collection. Last sold $7,400, $6,900 before that. Tons of sales for the Mew. Next, we have the Black and White Legendary Treasures Booster Pack. So here's the Genesect, sold for $182, $199. We got the Reshiram for $199, Mewtwo for $199. Another Mewtwo for $240. Reshiram for $215. And then they got the little promo packs here that has 3 cards in it. Started in the Black and White era, I believe. Sold for $42, even for the 3-pack. And then the Genesect here looks a little rougher, sold for $100. So there's a lot of sets out there where you can still get, some really cool booster packs for, $100, maybe $200, which seems crazy for a booster pack, but that's just what they cost now. So And for the booster box, we have a sale which was at the beginning of July at $9,471. All right, we are hopping to Umbreon. I'm just going to run through the modern super fast so you guys can kind of see and compare the modern versus the vintage. Let me know down below your guys' favorite Umbreon modern card, and then let me know your favorite Umbreon vintage card. So we got the Umbreon EX from Prismatic. So last sold in a 10, 3,000, 2,800. It actually went up. So raw is going down in price, but the PSA 10 is going up, which is just crazy. Got down to 2,400. Next, we have the Umbreon Master Ball. But yeah, this card just keeps going down in price raw. It's like a $50, $60 card. And last sale on PokeData, which was a couple weeks ago, was $520 for a 10. Next, we have the Penny, which has the Umbreon in it. Last sold in the 10, $71, $73.96, and raw, you know, like a $10 card. So if you're an Umbreon fan, very affordable. Next, we have the Obsidian Flames Umbreon. Very cool art. There's a few different versions of this card also, but with the stamp, it's worth a little bit more. Got up to $31. Now last sold $29.29. Next, we have the Umbreon V from Evolving Skies. You guys know about this card. It's $480, and it's going up again right now. Last sold $720, $850, and then raw $240, $200, $195. Next, the Umbreon V Max. Last sold $3,922, which is a crazy sale. Before that, $28.99, $29, $29. Then for raw, we got $1,200, $1,150, and $1,250. Next, the Umbreon V from Brilliant Stars Trainer Gallery. I think this is one of the cleanest modern Umbreons. Last sold in a 10, $175, $160, and raw $45, $50. And then the Umbreon V Max Trainer Gallery. Last sold in a 10, $186, $192, raw $65 and $70. Next, we have the Umbreon V Full Art. In my opinion, I think this is the best looking full art, which is kind of rare to say. That usually the older full arts just destroy, you know, the Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. But the color with this Umbreon is just nuts. Last sold for this card, $150. And then PSA 9 for $41, raw at $40, $60, $45. This has a pop of only 1,062 in a 10 and 1,000 in a 9. But I just love the colors. Next, we have the Umbreon VMAX from Evolving Skies. This is the Rainbow Rare. Last sold for this, $143, $145. This has a pop of 3156 in a 10 and 777 in a 9. Next, we have the Unagaba Umbreon card. Last sold $180, $152, $197. This used to be a $110, $120 card. This has a pop of 20,994 in a 10 and 1,800 in a 9. Next, we have the Umbreon and Darkrai GX Tag Team. This is the non-textured one. Last sold for this, raw 85, 58, 100. 75, then we got a PSA 10 at 505 and 460. This card has a pop of 1,580 in a 10 and 1,021 in a 9. Next, we have the textured Umbreon and Darkrai GX Tag Team promo. This has a very low pop, 965 in a 10, 4,357 in a 9, 2194 in an 8. That is very tough to grade. And last sold in a 10 is 2,400. We got a 9 at 277, 250. And then raw 150, 135, 140, 120. Next, we have the shiny Umbreon GX. This is basically the only shiny Umbreon that we've ever really gotten in the TCG besides the Gold Stars. And it is going up in price. It was a $370 card in a PSA 10. Now that sold $471, $444, and then raw 99, 200, 215, 185. We got a PSA 9 at 175 and 210. This has a pop of 5,790 in a 10 and 3,856 in a 9. Next, we have the same exact card, but this is the rainbow version from Sun and Moon. So this has a pop of 881 in a 10 and 1,332 in a 9, 641 in an 8, and last sold in a 10, 560, 598. And we got a PSA 9 at 87, and then raw 50, 60, 35. Next, we have the Full Art Umbreon EX from Fates Collide. This is a pop of 575 in a 10, 1,234 in a 9, and 787 in an 8. Looks like it's slowly going up in price. Last sold in a 10, $1,875. We did have a sale at $2,100 before that. And then raw, 43, 70, 93, 60. Next, we have the Umbreon Prime card. This has a pop of only 82 in a 10, 746 in a 9, and 1,133 in an 8. There's even 641 7s, 384 6s. That's crazy. There's more 5s than there is 10s. And last sold in a 10 is $7,000. And raw literally says lightly played 294, 100, 160, 239. So anything below basically $300 is going to be very rough. Next, we have the XY96 promo. Now, there's a Japanese version of this card that is worth like thousands of dollars, but this card is somewhat affordable, and it's a pretty cool art if you really look at it, and it looks nicer in person. These pictures aren't the best. But last sold raw 27, 40, 51, 36, 90. And then we did have a PSA 9 sale at 511. Could not find any PSA 10 sales. Next, we have the Umbreon Black and White promo 93, where Umbreon is giving him a little wink, kind of rubbing his face. Super cute card. And last sold raw 60, 42, 55, 100. PSA 9 at 813. And we got a PSA 10 here at $9,900. And they actually have all the evolutions in a set that looks just like this. Next, we have the Umbreon Plasma Freeze card. It says a very low pop, says 25 and a 10, 135 and a 9. Last sold raw 44, 25, 30. You know, it's a very affordable card. And then we got a PSA 10 sale here at $5,050 for the holo. And then we got a PSA 9 at $472. Next, we have the Darkness Energy. Now, there's a few different versions of this card. You know, there's the Heart Gold, Soul Silver original ones, then Call of Legends. Then they even have like the play versions, and they're all different prices. So do your research before you just go buy a random one if you're trying to do the whole set. But last sold on here for raw, which was last month, 65, 85, 57, and then we got a 9 at 189, 220. And then we could not find any recent PSA 10 sales for that card either. Next, we have the Umbreon EX from Unseen Forces. Low pop, only 46 and a 10, 249 and a 9. Last sold in a 9, 2,375. And before that, it was 3,050. And then for raw, 300, 315, 233, 275. And then for PSA 10, the last sale, which was a few months ago, is at $13,000. Next, we have the Umbreon Delta Species card. It says a pop of 117 and a 10, 280 and a 9. Last sold raw 115, 58, 166, 143, and then we got a PSA 9 sale at 409, and then a 10 at $2,025. Next, we have the Umbreon Reverse Holo from EX Sandstorm. Kind of a cute card. E-Reader card. Last sold 65, 200, 90. We got a PSA 9 at 255. And then we do have a PSA 10 sale at $3,360. Next, we have the Umbreon Reverse Holo from Aquapolis. This has a PSA 10 of 32 and PSA 9 of 96. Last sold raw 199, 65, 110, and then we got a PSA 9 at 350, 311. And the last PSA 10 sale for the Reverse Holo is 2025. And of course, there is a holo. This has a pop of 91 and a 10 and 285 and a 9. And then raw 785, 407, 560. We got a PSA 9 at 2550 and another one down there. And then if we scroll down a little bit, the most recent sale I could find was in June at 61.91 for PSA 10. But very, very beautiful card. You know, the prices are going to really matter on the condition. I mean, we got sales at 785 and 350 for the same exact card. So, you know, if you want it super clean, it's going to be very expensive. Next, we have the Umbreon Reverse Holo. This is from Skyrich. This is a pop of 48. And last sold raw 150, 325, 99, 322, 237. And we got a bunch of PSA 9 sales here at 600, 550, 494. And then we got a PSA 10 sale at 1,852. It's 2,900 before that. Next, we have the Holo Umbreon from Skyrich. Last sold in a PSA 10, 15,360. PSA 9 at 49.50. And then raw 860 for moderately played. That is just insane. Another raw at 975. Wow. This is a pop of 125 and a 10 and 365 and a 9. Let me know down below which Umbreon e-reader card you guys like the best. So we have the Skyrich one here. Here's Reverse Holo so you can see the art a little better. Or we have the Aquapolis one. Let me know down below which one do you guys like better. All right, next we are going to be hopping to some Neo Discovery. Here is the non-holo, one of my favorite Umbreon cards. Now they have this in Unlimited and First Edition. So this is the First Edition we're checking out here. It has a pop of 94 and a 10, 195 and a 9. Last sold raw 140, 126, 105, 160. Now this is just for a non-holo card. PSA 9 at 202 and 250. We do have a PSA 10 sale at $2,175. And the sale before that was $1,600. Like I said, there's an unlimited version that is much cheaper. Next, we have the holo from Neo Discovery. Let me know down below what you guys think of this art. The ears go crazy with this card. I feel like this is one of the creepiest Umbreon cards we've ever gotten. Again, this also comes in unlimited in first edition. This has a pop of 102 and a 10, 592 and a 9, 342 and an 8, even 180 and a 7. And last sold in a PSA 9, 3,850, 3,750, 3,150, raw 650, 1,200, 700, 950. We got a PSA 10 sale here at $13,800. Yeah, that's why I think it's funny when everybody calls the Umbreon VMAX the Moonbreon, because we've been getting, Moonbreons for a very, very long time. All right, it is time for the GOAT of all Umbreon cards. This is the Gold Star Pop Series 5. We got a PSA 3 at 6,500, raw 4,300, raw 5K, PSA 9 $17,600, PSA 7 $8,000, 7,500, and raw 5,600. And then we do have a PSA 10 sale, and that was at $37,000. And that sold July 30th of 2025. But this is one of the main reasons why I went so heavy into the Celebrations Umbreon and even the Japanese side, because, I understand how truly rare this Umbreon card is for the original. And a lot of new people in the hobby, they don't really understand that. But, beautiful Japanese Umbreon Gold Star here from the 25th anniversary. Now, I have to admit, this absolutely blows our Umbreon out of the water that we got. The sparkle on it is just crazy. It does have a crazy high pop, 21,000 in a 10 and only 1,800 in a 9. And last sold in a 10, 252, 222, 247. And then we got a 9 at 118, rot 150, 96, and 190. Now here's our version. Can you see the difference? I mean, the Japanese one definitely pops for sure. But for ours, also has a pretty high pop, a little tougher to grade though. 11,500 in a 10. And 6,500 in a 9. And this card is starting to level out between 300 and 350. It last sold raw 108, 40, 50, 58, 94. And then PSA 10, 344, 356, 322, 305. Next, we are checking out some Japanese cards. Now, these are some of my all-time favorite cards. This card specifically is my number one favorite Umbreon card. This is the Karen's Umbreon. Check out this art. Picture's a little blurry, doesn't do justice. It is so beautiful in person, I promise. This Umbreon taking a nap. This has a pop of 831 in the 10, 742 in the 9, and 468 in the 8. And last sold in the 10 is 6,856. We got a 9 at 2,550, 2,100. And then raw 625, 560, 475. But we did not get this card printed in English. And same thing with the Japanese McDonald's promo. I mean, so cute. Umbreon is laying up on the roof like that. Last sold raw 245, 152, 164. We got a PSA 9 at 661. And then we do have a PSA 10 sale, which was at the end of July at 2K. And then these cards are also Japanese exclusives. These are the Rainbow Tag Team cards. So we got the Umbreon and Darkrai, just raw 85. PSA 10 197. Another raw 118, 109. PSA 9 at 110. We do have a PSA 10 here. Oh, that was from February at 144. Another 10 here at August 14th for 175. But these cards are getting tougher and tougher to find. People just want more money for them now. So it's like $300 to even try to get an Umbreon now. The Rainbow. And they do also have the full art version, which last sold in a PSA 10 is $207 plus $20 in shipping. Another one at $215, best offer accepted. Another one at $186, $188. So very cool, Japanese exclusive cards. I think these are so underrated, like I said. And last on the list, we have the Chinese Umbreon Art Rare. And of course, I couldn't add every single Umbreon, but these are basically the most popular Umbreons in Pokemon history. If there's anything that I did miss, put it down below in the comments. But here is the Chinese Art Rare. Last sold raw 190, bunch graded. 270 best offer accepted. 299. Wow. 260. 220 best offer accepted. And then PSA 10 930. See, we got a couple more PSA 10s here, 950. And then we got a CGC 9 at 204, a PSA 9 at 200, CGC 9 at 187. But very cool, very clean. you know, beautiful art rare. Not to mention, it's also exclusive, so that's a bonus. But alright, that was today's Pokemon Throwback Thursday. If you guys do like this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a like and comment. If you guys want to support more, you can check out my Instagram, my TikTok, or my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. But alright, I want you guys to have a great day, and if you guys want to watch my last Pokemon What If Wednesday, which was a super good one, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.